Keisha Marshall's hands were numb, not from the cold seeping through the cracked window of her kitchen, from wringing out the same dish rag for the third time because she couldn't afford paper towels. The rag smelled like mildew and dish soap. She hated that smell. Her daughter Imani sat at the table, 7 years old, drawing on the back of old grocery receipts because construction paper cost money they didn't have. The pencil scratched against the paper, soft, rhythmic, the only sound besides the wind howling outside. "Mama, my fingers are cold," Imani said. Keisha looked at the thermostat, 58 degrees. She'd turned it down 3 days ago. The gas bill sat on the counter, red letters, final notice, $340 she didn't have. "Put on your coat, baby, we'll bundle up tonight." Imani nodded. She never complained. That made it worse. The apartment building groaned. Old brick, 1940s construction, pipes that froze every winter. Keisha lived on the second floor of a 3-story walk-up in Detroit's west side. The neighborhood wasn't dangerous, just forgotten. Outside, the snow fell thick. The news said it was the worst blizzard in 40 years. Schools closed, roads shut down. The city told everyone to stay inside. Keisha's phone buzzed, text from her boss at the diner. "Don't come in tonight, roads are too bad, no pay for missed shifts." She stared at the screen. The light from it hurt her eyes. That shift was supposed to be $63 in wages, plus maybe $40 in tips. Rent was due in 5 days. She was already $280 short. Her stomach cramped. She hadn't eaten since yesterday morning. Half a Pop-Tart and black coffee. "Mama, can we have spaghetti tonight?" Imani asked. Keisha walked to the cabinet. 1 box of pasta, no sauce. She opened the fridge. The light inside flickered. Half a stick of butter, 3 eggs. A mostly empty jar of grape jelly. "Sure, baby, spaghetti with butter, your favorite." Imani smiled. Keisha's heart cracked a little more. The wind outside screamed. It sounded like something alive, something angry. Then came the knock. 3 sharp raps on the door. Loud, urgent. Keisha froze. Nobody knocked at 9 p.m. during a blizzard. She walked to the door, looked through the peephole. A man stood there. White guy, maybe 50, huge, leather vest covered in patches, snowflakes stuck to his gray beard. Behind him, the stairwell was full of people. Leather, tattoos, motorcycles parked outside, barely visible through the snow. Keisha's pulse hammered in her ears. Hell's angels. She stepped back from the door. "Keisha, you in there?" The voice was rough but not threatening. "My name's Dutch. We need help, please." She didn't move. "Ma'am, we got people freezing out here. Our bikes died. Roads are blocked. We can't get to the motel. We just need somewhere warm for a few hours. That's it." Keisha's neighbor, Mrs. Chen, opened her door across the hall. The old woman looked at Dutch, then at Keisha. "Don't open that door," Mrs. Chen hissed. "Those people are criminals." Dutch turned toward Mrs. Chen. "Ma'am, we're not here to cause trouble. We just need—" Mrs. Chen slammed her door. The deadbolt clicked. Keisha stood there, hand on the doorknob. Her grandmother's voice echoed in her head. "Baby, when someone needs help, you help. Don't matter who they are." But her grandmother never had to worry about keeping a daughter safe. "How many of you?" Keisha called through the door. 25. Her apartment was 680 square feet. "Please," Dutch said again. "We got a woman out here who's 8 months pregnant, another guy with frostbite on his hands. We're not asking to stay the night, just a few hours until the road's clear." Keisha looked at Imani. Her daughter stared back at her, wide-eyed. The heater kicked on, barely. The vents coughed out lukewarm air. Keisha unlocked the door. 25 people filled her apartment like sardines in a can. The smell hit first: leather, cigarette smoke, wet denim, motor oil, sweat. They didn't all fit. Some sat on the floor in the hallway. Others stood shoulder to shoulder in the living room. The pregnant woman, a white girl with blonde hair and dark circles under her eyes, sat on Keisha's couch. Her name was Casey. She rubbed her belly and shivered. "Thank you," Casey whispered. Her lips were blue. Dutch stood near the door, removing his gloves. His fingers were red and raw. "Ma'am, we won't be any trouble. Just need to thaw out. Roads should clear by midnight." Keisha nodded. She didn't trust her voice. Imani peeked around the corner, clutching her stuffed rabbit. A woman with short black hair and a sleeve of tattoos knelt down. "Hey, little one, what's your name?" "Imani." "That's a beautiful name. I'm Ray," she smiled. Her front tooth was chipped. Imani stared at the tattoos, dragons and roses, and words Keisha couldn't read from across the room. "Can I touch?" Imani asked. "Sure, sweetheart." Keisha watched them, her chest tight. Dutch approached her. Up close, he was even bigger, 6'4", broad shoulders, scars on his knuckles. "You got kids, I get it. You're scared. I would be too." "I'm not scared." Keisha's voice cracked. Dutch smiled, sad, like he knew she was lying. "We'll be out of your hair soon, promise." Someone coughed, wet, rattling. A black guy in the hallway, maybe 30, leaned against the wall. His face was pale. Sweat dripped down his temples despite the cold. "Yo, Dutch," someone called. "Malik don't look good." Dutch moved fast. He knelt beside Malik. "You good, brother?" Malik shook his head. "Can't breathe right." Keisha pushed through the crowd. "Move, let me see." She knelt beside Malik. His chest heaved, shallow breaths. His lips had a grayish tint. "He asthmatic?" Keisha asked. "Yeah," Dutch said. "Left his inhaler at the motel." Keisha stood. She went to the bathroom, opened the medicine cabinet, grabbed Imani's inhaler, nearly empty. The pharmacy wanted $85 for a refill she couldn't afford. She brought it back, handed it to Malik. 2 puffs, slow. Malik used it. His breathing evened out after a minute. "Thank you," he rasped. Keisha took the inhaler back, checked it. Maybe 3 doses left. That had to last Imani another week. Her hands shook. She shoved the inhaler in her pocket. Dutch watched her. He didn't say anything. The snow outside pounded the windows. The building groaned. Someone's stomach growled, loud, embarrassing. Keisha looked around. These people were starving. She went to the kitchen, opened the cabinet. 1 box of pasta. That was supposed to be dinner for her and Imani for 2 nights. She filled a pot with water, turned on the stove. The flame flickered blue and orange. "What are you doing?" Dutch asked. "Making food." "You don't have to." "I said I'm making food." Keisha boiled the pasta, all of it. She melted the butter in a pan, cracked the 3 eggs, stirred everything together. It wasn't much. It smelled like cheap carbs and desperation. She found paper plates in the back of the cabinet, 8 of them. The rest would have to share or eat from their hands. She served Casey first, then Malik, then Imani. The others passed the pot around, taking small portions. Nobody complained. Nobody asked for seconds. Dutch ate last. He stared at the food like it was a gourmet meal. "This is good," he said. Keisha almost laughed. It wasn't good. It was all she had. Imani sat next to Casey on the couch, showing her drawings. Casey smiled, asked questions, complimented the crayon colors. Ray sat on the floor with 2 other women. They talked quietly. One of them cried. Ray held her hand. A younger guy, white, maybe 22, with a split lip and a black eye, sat in the corner. He didn't talk to anyone, just stared at the floor. Keisha watched them. These weren't the monsters Mrs. Chen described. They were just people. Cold, hungry, grateful, but something about it felt wrong. Not them, the situation. Why did they come here? To her door? There were 12 apartments in this building. Why hers? Dutch caught her staring. He walked over. "You okay?" "Why did you knock on my door?" Keisha asked. "Why not someone else's?" Dutch hesitated. "Your light was on. The others were dark. Figured someone was home." That made sense, but it didn't erase the knot in Keisha's stomach. "We'll be gone soon," Dutch said again. "You got my word." Midnight came and went. The snow didn't stop. The roads stayed blocked. Dutch made phone calls, frustrated, angry. "Yeah, I know the roads are closed. We're stuck. No, we can't. Fine, we'll wait till morning." He hung up, looked at Keisha. "Roads won't clear till dawn. Plows can't get through. I'm sorry." Keisha glanced at Imani, asleep on the couch, curled up next to Casey. The pregnant woman's hand rested on Imani's back, protective. "It's fine," Keisha said. She wasn't sure if she meant it. "We'll sleep in the hallway," Dutch said. "Won't bother you." They did. Bodies sprawled on the floor. Some sat against the wall. Others leaned on each other. Keisha gave them the 3 blankets she owned. They passed them around, sharing. She sat in the kitchen, unable to sleep. The clock on the stove glowed. 2:47 a.m. The building was silent except for breathing. 27 people breathing in her space. She thought about the pasta, gone. The eggs, gone. Imani's inhaler, almost gone. Tomorrow, she'd have nothing. Her phone buzzed, text from the landlord. "Rent due Friday, no extensions." Pay or you're out." Keisha stared at the screen until it went black. Morning came slow. Gray light seeped through the windows. The snow had stopped, but the world outside was buried under 3 feet of white. Keisha woke on the kitchen floor, head resting on her arms at the table. Her neck ached, her mouth tasted like metal. The apartment smelled like too many bodies in a small space, sweat and breath and something sour. People stirred, groaning, stretching. Someone's back cracked loud enough to make Keisha flinch. Dutch stood by the window, phone pressed to his ear. Yeah, we're good. All right. See you soon." He hung up, looked at Keisha. "Plows just came through. Roads are passable. We'll get out of your way." Keisha nodded. Relief and something else, something she couldn't name. The bikers moved fast, gathering their things, checking on each other. Casey struggled to stand. 2 women helped her up. Malik walked over to Keisha. "Thank you for the inhaler. You probably saved my life." "It's fine." "No, it's not fine." Malik's voice was firm. "You gave us your food, your daughter's medicine. You didn't have to." Keisha looked away. "You needed help." Dutch approached. He held out a piece of paper. "This is my number. You ever need anything, you call." Keisha took it, didn't look at it. "I mean it," Dutch said. "Anything." The bikers filed out, one by one. They thanked her, some hugged her. Ray kissed Imani's forehead. The pregnant woman, Casey, stopped at the door, tears in her eyes. "You're a good person." Then they were gone. The apartment felt enormous, empty, cold. Keisha looked around. The blankets were folded neatly on the couch. Someone had washed the dishes. The kitchen was cleaner than when they had arrived. On the counter, a $20 bill sat under the salt shaker. Keisha picked it up, stared at it. It wasn't enough, not even close, but it was something. Imani came out of the bedroom, rubbing her eyes. "Where did everybody go?" "Home, baby. I like them." "Me too." Keisha made toast with the last 2 slices of bread. No butter, no jelly, just burnt bread that scraped her throat going down. Imani ate it without complaint. The day dragged. No work, no money coming in. Keisha applied for jobs on her phone until the battery died. She couldn't afford to charge it. The electricity bill was overdue. By evening, her stomach felt like it was eating itself. Imani drew on more receipts. The pencil was almost too short to hold. "Mama, I'm hungry." "I know, baby. We'll eat tomorrow." "Promise?" Keisha's throat tightened. "Promise." That night, they went to bed with empty stomachs. The heater didn't kick on. The apartment dropped to 54 degrees. Keisha held Imani under every piece of clothing they owned. Her daughter's body shivered against hers. "Mama, why is it so cold?" "The heater's resting. It'll wake up soon." Lies tasted worse than burnt toast. Morning came with a sound Keisha had never heard before. Deep, rumbling, like thunder rolling through the street. She sat up. Imani was still asleep, curled into a tight ball. Keisha walked to the window, looked down. Her breath stopped. Motorcycles, hundreds of them, lined up down the entire block, chrome glinting in the weak morning sun, leather vests, patches, Hell's Angels logos everywhere. People poured out of apartments, staring. Mrs. Chen stood on the sidewalk, phone pressed to her ear, probably calling the police. Mr. Okafor from downstairs, a Nigerian man who drove a cab, shouted something Keisha couldn't hear. Her door shook, someone pounding, hard. Keisha's pulse spiked. She opened the door. Dutch stood there. Behind him, the hallway was packed with bikers. "Morning," Dutch said. He smiled. "Can we come in?" Keisha stepped aside. What else could she do? They filled her apartment again. More than before. 50, 60. She lost count. Dutch stood in the center of the living room. "Keisha, you helped us when we had nothing. Now it's our turn." "I don't understand." He gestured toward the door. 2 guys carried in a box, then another, then another. "Food," Dutch said. "Enough for 3 months, non-perishable. Some fresh stuff too, milk, eggs, bread." Keisha stared at the boxes, her vision blurred. "That's not all." Dutch nodded toward the hallway. A woman walked in, not a biker, professional, blazer, clipboard. "Ms. Marshall, I'm Angela Torres. I work with Michigan Family Support Services. Dutch called me. I've reviewed your case. You qualify for emergency heating assistance. Your gas bill will be paid in full by the state. Electricity, too." Keisha couldn't speak. Angela continued. We're also enrolling Imani in the Children's Health Insurance Program. Her asthma medication will be covered. No copays." Tears burned Keisha's eyes. She tried to blink them back, failed. Dutch pulled an envelope from his jacket. "This is from all of us. Everyone you helped last night chipped in. It's not much, but it's something." Keisha opened the envelope. Cash. She counted it. $3,200. Her knees buckled. Dutch caught her arm. "Rent," he said, "and a little extra." "I can't take this." "You already did. It's yours." Imani ran into the room. She froze when she saw the crowd. "Mama?" Ray knelt down. "Hey, Imani, remember me?" Imani nodded. "We brought you something." Ray handed her a box wrapped in bright paper, a bow on top. Imani looked at Keisha. Keisha nodded. Imani tore the paper. Inside, art supplies, crayons, markers, colored pencils, construction paper, stickers, a brand new sketchbook. Imani's scream of joy echoed through the apartment. Keisha covered her mouth, sobbed into her hand. Dutch stepped closer. "You gave us everything you had. We wanted to give you something back. This is too much." "No," Dutch's voice was firm. "It's not enough, but it's a start." The bikers clapped, a slow rumble of applause that grew louder. Some whistled, others cheered. Keisha stood there, drowning in kindness she didn't know how to accept. But downstairs, the neighborhood wasn't celebrating. Mrs. Chen stood with a group of residents, her arms crossed, face tight. "They're criminals," she said. "Keisha brought gang members into our building." Mr. Okafor shook his head. "This is not good, not safe. We have children here." A young white woman, maybe 30, holding a toddler, chimed in. "I'm calling the landlord. This violates the lease. No unauthorized guests." Another voice. Older black man, "Mr. Davis from the 3rd floor." "Y'all don't know what you talking about. Keisha's a good woman. She helped them. They helping her back. That's called decency." "Decency?" Mrs. Chen snapped. "They're hell's angels. You know what they do? Drugs, guns, violence." "You got proof of that?" Mr. Davis challenged. "Or are you just scared of people who don't look like what you think good people should look like?" Mrs. Chen flushed. "This isn't about race." "The hell it ain't." The crowd grew louder, arguing, shouting. A police car rolled up, lights flashing. 2 officers stepped out. Officer Brennan, white guy, mid-40s, hand on his belt. "What's going on here?" Mrs. Chen rushed over. "Officer, there are gang members in that building. Hundreds of them. They're threatening us." "Threatening?" Officer Brennan frowned. "How?" "They're just standing there, but they're armed. I know they are." Officer Brennan looked at the motorcycles, then at the bikers spilling out of the building. They didn't look threatening. They looked calm, organized. Officer Brennan's partner, Officer Ruiz, a Latina woman, late 30s, walked toward the entrance. Dutch met her at the door. "Morning, officer." "Morning. We got a call about a disturbance." "No disturbance. We're just helping a neighbor." Officer Ruiz looked past him, saw the boxes of food being carried in, the woman with the clipboard. Keisha standing in the doorway, tears streaming down her face. "Helping how?" Officer Ruiz asked. Dutch explained. "Quick, simple, honest." Officer Ruiz turned to Mrs. Chen. "They're delivering food to a single mother in need. That's the disturbance?" Mrs. Chen stammered. "But they're hell's angels." "So?" Officer Ruiz's voice was ice. "Being in a motorcycle club isn't illegal. Unless you got evidence of a crime, there's nothing to report." Mrs. Chen's mouth opened, closed. No words came out. Officer Brennan walked over to Dutch. "You guys causing any trouble?" "No, sir." "You planning to?" "No, sir." Officer Brennan looked at the crowd, at Keisha, at Imani, clutching her new sketchbook. "All right then, y'all have a good day." He tipped his hat, walked back to the patrol car. The police left. The crowd stood there, silent, confused. Mr. Davis laughed, loud. "Told y'all, you judged wrong." One by one, the neighbors dispersed, some still muttering, others looking ashamed. Mrs. Chen didn't move. She stared at Keisha's apartment, at the bikers, at the boxes of food. Ray walked past her, carrying a case of bottled water. "You know, lady, instead of calling the cops, you could have just said thank you." Mrs. Chen flinched. Ray kept walking. Inside, Keisha sat on the couch, surrounded by food. Canned goods, pasta, rice, beans, cereal, peanut butter, jelly, fresh fruit, milk, cheese. Her cabinets were full. Her fridge was full. Imani sat on the floor, drawing with her new markers. She hummed. Happy. Dutch sat across from Keisha. "You good?" Keisha nodded. She didn't trust her voice. "Listen," Dutch said, "I know this is a lot, but there's more." "More? We want to do something bigger. For the whole building, the whole block." "What do you mean?" Dutch pulled out his phone, showed her pictures. "We run a program, community outreach. We fix up neighborhoods, repair homes, help with bills, provide job training, whatever people need." Keisha stared at the photos. Houses painted, roofs repaired, families smiling. "We want to start here," Dutch said, "in this neighborhood. But we need someone local, someone who knows the people, someone they trust." "Why are you telling me this?" "Because we want it to be you," Keisha blinked. "Me?" "You'd be the community coordinator, connect families with resources, help us figure out who needs what. You'd get paid, salary, benefits, health insurance." Keisha's heart pounded. "I don't have experience with that." "You have something better. You have a heart that gives even when you got nothing left. That's what we need." Tears came again. Keisha wiped them away. "Why me?" Dutch leaned forward. "Because you opened your door when everyone else locked theirs. Because you fed 25 strangers with one box of pasta. Because you gave your daughter's inhaler to a man you didn't know. That's not something you train for. That's who you are." Keisha looked at Amani. Her daughter's world had been gray for so long, now it was full of color. "Okay," Keisha whispered. Dutch smiled. "Yeah?" "Yeah." He stood, extended his hand. Keisha shook it. "Welcome to the team." But outside, someone watched, listened, waited. A man stood across the street, half hidden behind a parked car. White guy, mid-50s, greasy hair, dirty jacket. His name was Carl. He lived in the building, 3rd floor, corner unit. Carl had been watching Keisha for weeks, noticed her struggles, the way she walked with her head down, the way she never bought anything at the corner store except the cheapest items. He saw opportunity in her desperation. But now, the bikers were here, helping her, changing everything. Carl's jaw tightened. He pulled out his phone, made a call. "Yeah, it's me. We got a problem. The Marshall woman. She's got protection now. Hell's Angels. We need to move fast before she's untouchable." The voice on the other end spoke. Carl listened, nodded. "Understood. I'll handle it." He hung up, watched the bikers load boxes, watched Keisha smile for the first time in months. Carl smiled too, but his smile was different. Hungry. The bikers left by noon. The roar of engines faded down the street. The block returned to normal. Keisha stood in her apartment surrounded by food and possibilities. Amani ran around the living room, showing off her drawings to an invisible audience. Keisha's phone rang. Unknown number. Hello? "Ms. Marshall, this is Dutch. Just checking in. You good?" "Yeah, thank you. For everything." "Don't thank me yet. We got work to do. I'll send someone over tomorrow. Angela Torres. She'll help you get set up with the job, paperwork, all that official stuff." "Okay." "And Keisha, keep that number I gave you. Anything feels off, you call. Day or night." "I will." They hung up. Keisha looked at the $20 bill still sitting on the counter. She added it to the cash in the envelope. $3,220. She paid rent online. Immediately. $980 sent. Confirmation email received. $240 left. Keisha sat down, stared at the number on the screen. For the first time in 3 years, she wasn't drowning. She cried, hard, ugly. Her shoulders shook, her chest heaved. Imani climbed into her lap. "Mama, why are you sad?" "I'm not sad, baby. I'm happy." "Happy tears?" "Yeah, happy tears." Imani hugged her, tight. "I love you, Mama." "I love you too." That night, Keisha cooked a real meal. Spaghetti with actual sauce, garlic bread, salad, juice for Imani. They ate at the table. Keisha had seconds. Imani had thirds. The heater kicked on. Warm air filled the apartment. Keisha's phone buzzed. Text from Mrs. Chen. "I'm sorry for what I said. You're a good neighbor." Keisha stared at the message, typed back. "Thank you." She set the phone down, looked at Imani, tomato sauce on her chin, smiling wide. "Best dinner ever," Imani said. "Yeah, baby, it is." But Carl watched from his window, saw the lights on in Keisha's apartment, saw the shadows moving inside. He opened his laptop, pulled up a file, photos, documents, plans. Keisha Marshall didn't know it yet, but she'd just become a problem. and Carl specialized in making problems disappear. He closed the laptop, walked to his closet, pulled out a lockbox, opened it. Inside, a gun, unregistered, untraceable. Carl picked it up, checked the chamber, loaded. He smiled. Tomorrow, everything would change. Again. Morning came too bright. Sunlight streamed through the windows, harsh and unforgiving. Keisha woke on the couch. Imani was still asleep, curled up beside her, breathing soft and even. The apartment smelled like coffee. Wait. Keisha didn't make coffee. She sat up, blinked. A woman stood in the kitchen, professional. Blazer. The same woman from yesterday, Angela Torres. "Good morning," Angela said, smiling. "Hope you don't mind. Dutch gave me a key, temporary, just until we get you set up." Keisha's brain struggled to catch up. You let yourself in?" "I should have texted first. Sorry. I'm an early riser. Brought bagels." Angela gestured to the counter. A bag from the bakery sat there. The good bakery. The one Keisha couldn't afford. "How did you get in here?" "Dutch gave me the spare key from the landlord's office. He's friends with the property manager. Don't worry, it's all above board." Keisha's stomach twisted. Something felt wrong, but she couldn't pinpoint it. Angela poured 2 cups of coffee, handed one to Keisha. "Cream? Sugar?" "Black's fine." They sat at the table. Angela pulled out a folder. Papers, contracts, official-looking documents. "All right, let's get you started. I need you to sign a few things. Employment contract, tax forms, direct deposit information." Keisha scanned the papers. The words blurred together. Legalese she didn't understand. "This is a lot." "Standard stuff, just formalities." Angela tapped a line. "Sign here, and here, and here." Keisha hesitated. "Can I read through this first?" Angela's smile tightened, just a fraction, barely noticeable. "Of course, take your time. But Dutch wants to move fast. The program starts next week. We need everything finalized today." "Today? Is that a problem?" Keisha looked at the papers, at Angela, at the coffee in her hand. "No, it's fine," she signed, line after line, her hand cramped by the end. Angela collected the papers. "Perfect. You're officially part of the team." "When do I start?" "Monday. I'll send you the details. Office location, training schedule, all that." "Office?" "Yeah, we have a space downtown. Small, but functional." Angela stood. "I should get going. Lots to do. But Keisha, welcome aboard. You're going to do amazing things." She left. Keisha sat at the table staring at the empty doorway. Imani stirred on the couch. "Mama?" "Morning, baby." "Who is that lady?" "Someone from work." Imani yawned. "Can I have a bagel?" "Yeah, baby, go ahead." Imani ran to the kitchen, grabbed a bagel. Cream cheese smeared across her face within seconds. Keisha watched her daughter, tried to shake the unease crawling up her spine. Her phone buzzed, text from Dutch. "Angela get you set up?" "Yeah, all signed." "Good, you're going to love this job, trust me." Keisha stared at the word, trust. She wanted to, God, she wanted to. But something whispered in the back of her mind, a warning she couldn't name. Carl stood in the hallway outside Keisha's apartment. He leaned against the wall, pretending to check his phone. He'd watched Angela leave, watched the way she moved, confident, calculated. Carl knew Angela, not personally, but he knew her type. She worked for people who smiled while they took everything you had. He'd seen it before. Families lured in with promises, jobs, money, help. Then the trap snapped shut. Carl wasn't a good man. He knew that. He'd done things, bad things. But Angela? She was worse, because she made you think she cared. Carl walked back to his apartment, locked the door, sat at his desk. He pulled up his laptop, started digging. Angela Torres, social worker, clean record, too clean. He dug deeper, found a deleted article, small, buried in the back pages of a local news site from 3 years ago. Local nonprofit under investigation for fraud. Families claim promised aid never materialized. Angela's name appeared once, briefly, a former employee. No charges filed. Carl kept digging. Hours passed. His eyes burned. His coffee went cold. Then he found it. A property record, a house in Dearborn, purchased 2 years ago, $480,000 cash. Angela's salary as a social worker, $52,000 a year. The math didn't add up. Carl leaned back, rubbed his face. Keisha was in trouble. She just didn't know it yet. He stood, grabbed his jacket, walked out. He knocked on Keisha's door. She opened it, wary. "Can I help you?" "My name's Carl. I live upstairs, 3rd floor." "Okay? I need to talk to you about Angela Torres." Keisha's expression shifted, guarded. "What about her? Can I come in? This isn't a conversation for the hallway." Keisha hesitated, then stepped aside. Carl walked in, saw Amani on the couch drawing. He nodded at her. She waved back. "What's this about?" Keisha asked. Carl pulled out his phone, showed her the article. "You know who you just signed papers with?" Keisha read it. Her face paled. "This says she was investigated. No charges, but that doesn't mean she's clean." "Why are you telling me this?" Carl looked her in the eye. "Because I've seen this before. People come in, promise help, get you to sign things, then they own you." "Own me?" "Your signatures, your information, they can do a lot with that." Keisha's hands shook. "What do you mean?" "I mean you should be careful, very careful." He left. Keisha stood in the doorway, watched him walk down the hall. Her chest felt tight, like the walls were closing in. She pulled out her phone, called Dutch. It rang and rang and rang. Voicemail. "Dutch, it's Keisha. Call me back, please." She hung up, stared at the screen. Amani walked over. "Mama, you okay?" "Yeah, baby, I'm fine." Another lie. That night, Keisha couldn't sleep. She lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. Her phone sat on the nightstand, silent. Dutch hadn't called back. At 2:00 a.m., she gave up, got out of bed, walked to the kitchen. The envelope of cash sat on the counter. 12,140. She opened it, counted it, just to make sure. All there. But something felt off. The bills were too crisp, too new, like they'd just been printed. Keisha held one up to the light, looked for the watermark, the security thread. It was there, legitimate, but still, something felt wrong. She put the money back, sat at the table. Her grandmother's voice echoed in her head. "Baby, when something feels too good to be true, it usually is." Keisha pulled out the contract Angela had her sign, read it again. The legalese made her head hurt, but one section stood out. Employee agrees to full financial disclosure. All assets, debts, and income sources must be reported to employer within 30 days of hire. Keisha's stomach dropped. Why did they need that information? She kept reading. Employer reserves the right to withhold salary pending completion of mandatory financial audit. Audit? Keisha grabbed her phone, Googled Hell's Angels Community Outreach Program. Nothing. She searched Lily's Legacy Detroit. Nothing. She searched Dutch, Motorcycle Club Detroit. The results made her blood run cold. One article, 8 years old, archived. Hell's Angels member arrested in connection with money laundering operation. A photo, younger Dutch, handcuffed, being led into a courthouse, charges dropped, insufficient evidence, but still. Keisha's hands shook. She called Dutch again, voicemail. She called Angela, voicemail. Panic clawed at her throat. She grabbed Amani's inhaler, checked it, still almost empty. She looked at the boxes of food, the full cabinets, the cash on the counter, everything they'd given her. What was the cost? Morning came. Keisha didn't sleep. A knock on the door, 7:00 a.m. Sharp, Keisha opened it. Angela stood there, smiling. "Morning, Keisha. Ready for your first day?" "I need to talk to you." "Sure, let's walk and talk. I'll drive you to the office." "I'm not going anywhere until you answer some questions." Angela's smile faltered. "Okay, what's wrong? Why do you need my financial information?" "It's standard. We need to make sure everything's above board. Tax purposes." "Why can't I find any information about this program online?" Angela laughed, soft, non-threatening. "We're new, still building our web presence, and everything's moving fast. That's why we need people like you to help us grow." "I want to see the office, the space downtown." "Of course. That's where we're going." Keisha grabbed her coat. "Let me drop Amani at school first." "I'll wait." Keisha got Amani ready. They walked to the bus stop. Angela followed, silent. Amani got on the bus, waved. Keisha waved back. Then she turned to Angela. "Let's go." Angela's car was nice, too nice. Brand new Lexus, leather seats. The smell of expensive cologne lingered inside. They drove downtown. Angela made small talk. Keisha didn't respond. 20 minutes later, they pulled up to a building. Old, run down, graffiti on the walls. "This is it?" Keisha asked. "We're renovating. It'll look better soon." They walked inside. The lobby was empty. Dust covered the floor. The elevator was broken. They took the stairs. 3rd floor. Angela unlocked a door. Inside, a single room. Folding table, 2 chairs, nothing else. Keisha's pulse quickened. "This is the office?" "Temporary space, like I said, we're still setting up." A man stepped out from the shadows in the corner. White guy, tall, expensive suit, cold eyes. "Keisha Marshall?" he said. "Who are you?" "My name's Richard. I'm the financial director." "Financial director of what?" Richard smiled. "Of the program you just joined." Keisha looked at Angela, then at Richard. "What's going on?" Richard sat down, gestured to the empty chair. "Sit, let's talk." Keisha didn't move. "Sit," Richard repeated, firmer. She sat. Richard pulled out a folder, opened it. Keisha's signatures stared back at her. "You signed a contract," Richard said. "Employment agreement. You're now an employee of Apex Community Solutions." "Apex? I thought I was working for..." "Hell's Angels don't run nonprofits, Keisha. They're a front. A way to find people like you, desperate, willing to sign anything." Keisha's vision blurred. "What?" "You owe us now." "Owe you?" Richard pulled out another paper. "This contract states that in exchange for the aid provided, food, rent assistance, job offer, you agree to repay the organization through labor, specifically 3 years of mandatory employment." "I didn't agree to that." "You did. Right here." He pointed to a line, fine print, buried in the middle of page 7. Keisha's breath came in short gasps. "This isn't legal." "It's perfectly legal. You signed, willingly." "I was tricked." Richard leaned back. "Prove it." Keisha stood. "I'm leaving." Angela blocked the door. "You can't. Get out of my way." "Sit down, Keisha." Richard's voice was ice. "Or we repossess everything we gave you. The food, the money, we'll go after your rent. Have you evicted? We'll contact child services, tell them you're unfit, that you endangered your daughter by bringing gang members into your home." Keisha's knees buckled. She grabbed the table. "You can't do that." "We can, and we will." Richard stood. "Or you can cooperate, work for us, do what we say. In 3 years, you're free. Your debt is cleared." "What kind of work?" Richard smiled. "You'll find out." Keisha's phone buzzed. She pulled it out. Text from Dutch. "Keisha, where are you? Angela said she picked you up. Call me." She typed back. "Help? Downtown? Old building on 3rd and Main, 3rd floor. Help." Richard snatched the phone, read the message, laughed. "Dutch isn't coming. He's not even real." "What?" "The man you met, his name is Greg. He's an actor. We hired him to play the role, to gain your trust. The bikers? Half of them were actors too. The rest were real Hell's Angels. But they don't know about us. They think they were doing charity work." Keisha's world tilted. No, that's not true." Richard showed her a photo on his phone. Dutch, Greg, standing with Richard, shaking hands, smiling. Keisha's chest caved in. Everything was a lie. But downstairs, engines roared, real engines. A convoy of motorcycles pulled up, 20, 30, 40, real Hell's Angels. The real Dutch climbed off his bike, Malik beside him, Ray, Casey. Dutch's phone buzzed. He looked at it. A message from someone named Carl. "Keisha Marshall is in trouble. 3rd and Main. Apex Community Solutions. They're scamming her. Get here now." Dutch's jaw tightened. "Move, now." They stormed the building. Upstairs, Richard heard the commotion. His face paled. "What the hell?" Angela ran to the window. "Oh my God, it's them, the real ones." Richard grabbed Keisha's arm. "You called them." "I didn't." The door exploded open. Dutch, the real Dutch, filled the doorway. "Let her go." Richard shoved Keisha aside, pulled a gun. "Back off." Dutch didn't move. "You don't want to do that." "I said back off." Malik appeared behind Dutch, then Ray, then 20 more bikers. Richard's hand shook. Dutch stepped forward, slow, calm. "Put the gun down." "I'll shoot." "No, you won't." Dutch's voice was steady. "Because if you do, you'll die before you hit the floor." Richard looked at the faces surrounding him, cold, unforgiving. He lowered the gun. Dutch walked over, took it, handed it to Malik. Then he turned to Keisha. "You okay?" She nodded. Tears streamed down her face. "Let's get you home." They walked out, left Richard and Angela standing in the empty room. Outside, Carl leaned against a lamppost. Smoking. Dutch approached him. You the one who texted me? Yeah. How'd you know? I know people. I know scams. Carl took a drag. She didn't deserve that. Dutch nodded. Thanks. Carl shrugged, walked away. Keisha stood on the sidewalk surrounded by bikers, real ones. I'm sorry, she said. I thought you were… We know, Dutch said. And we're sorry too. We should have been more careful. Should have checked on you. What happens now? Now we fix this. We report them. Get you real help. Legal help. Keisha looked at the building, at the window where Richard and Angela stood, watching. I just wanted to help people, she whispered. You did, Dutch said. You helped us. Now let us help you. For real this time. 3 months later, Keisha sat in a real office, downtown, clean, professional. Her nameplate read, Keisha Marshall, Community Outreach Director, Detroit Neighborhood Alliance. A real organization, verified, registered, legitimate. Dutch sat across from her. First month stats look good. 15 families helped, all of them verified. Thanks to your funding, Keisha said. Our funding. You're part of this. Imani burst through the door. Mama, look! She held up a drawing, a house, people smiling, motorcycles in the background. It's us, Imani said. Keisha hugged her daughter. Yeah, baby, it's us. Dutch stood. I'll leave you two alone. See you Monday. See you Monday? He left. Keisha looked at Imani's drawing, at the office, at the life they'd built. The blizzard felt like a lifetime ago, but the lessons stayed. Trust carefully, question everything, and when someone shows you who they are, believe them, even when it hurts, especially then.